Oh, you know we need a Dunkin'. Another 43-degree morning. I'm not getting used to it. It's like 2 weeks now. That's crazy. I don't know how you guys do it up there. Have I said that before? It is way too cold. I think living in Florida for 35 years, not much I can do about it except wear a bunch of layers and do the best I can to stay warm throughout the day. I hope you're doing the same. My hands and my feet get really cold. It's kind of crazy. When you're working outside all day long, it starts off not bothering you too bad, and as the day goes by, it just wears on you. Next thing you know, you start feeling like your bones are cold. I'm sure you guys are up where that. Wherever there's a minus before the temperature, that means it's less than no temperature. You gotta know what I'm talking about there. I feel for you guys up north. We're gonna spend a day in the shop. We're not just gonna forecast the weather and tell you how it's way too cold in Central Florida. About every 15 years or so, we get these super cold winters. Same thing, every 15 years or so, we get super hot summers. Hopefully that doesn't happen. That's bad too. 105 degrees every day for 3 weeks straight, I think we had once. Cleaned up some of this over here. We got the cores are getting picked up. We got some stuff happening, straightening out some of this mess. We still got work to do though. Stop flapping. Do our best to get the shop open up so we can learn a thing or two and have some fun. What do you say? Been kind of a slow week, kind of unusual. The weather doesn't help, and this time of year is up and down all the way through April when people start getting tax returns and stuff. Let's get in there and get to work. Stay tuned. Customer at the Dodge Ram work truck changed their minds. They said, you know what? We went and priced these things. They're like 70 grand now, so go ahead and fix it. So we're gonna do that oil cooler housing and an oil change and make this thing like a brand new truck. You saw yesterday's video. I checked it for oil leaks and it was running a little weird. Had cam timing lockout codes and things because it was so low on oil. I added 4 quarts of oil and I let them know it has a oil pump pressure code as well. It's a separate issue. So we're going to do the oil cooler, fix the leaks, get it to hold oil, and then go from there. So we'll get it in the shop, get these front tires off so it's a little easier to reach the engine in this gigantic truck. And the little V6 is way in the back. It'll be fun, but we'll get it done hopefully today so it'll go on this week's paycheck. I'm like a whole week's pay behind this year compared to last year. I'm down like 40 hours year to date from last year. So we're gonna try to make something happen. I apologize if it's repetitive, but the Dodge Jeep Ram product needs a lot of oil cooler housings. And we're trying to make a living, so let's do it. That's a better height for the vertically challenged. Now we gotta get this big thing out there. It's made to make the engine look bigger. I think that's what they designed it to do. Air temp sensor, air intake temp sensor, 8mm, couple of connections to get that thing out of the way. These 2 little push pins are real buggers to get them to release sometimes, but they came off without breaking. I see a lot of times this long extended one is broken, so I just put a pry bar right under it so it won't stress this plastic too much. Let's clean our work area a little bit. This might seem like a radical idea, but I'm feeling like if I take this electric fan assembly out of the way, I could stand in there and do it instead of going like this. There it is. Just get the persuader out. A little lift of that, a little twist of that. Hold your lip right. And it's out. Kind of. It's gonna come out. Just a matter of how much dancing it's gonna take. I think I'm gonna have to take the upper hose off, and I gotta drain the coolant anyway. Get that out of there. Now we got room. There's plenty of room for Jimmy in there. You guys could even hang out in there with me. Then I got the appropriate stand, and I put our other stand in there. And she will stand right over the motor. Should be easy, right? I got my tools so I can probably reach them for the most part. Off we go. Let's climb in. I'm gonna unbolt the throttle body, I think. I prefer not to mess with that electrical connector if I can avoid it. 4/8. Set that thing down. Sometimes they have coolant hoses going to them. I don't see any on this one. Just the electrical connector, but that's all right. We'll pop it off of there. Grab one of these. Grab one of these, 8mm. There we go. Got my magnetic blue point tray handy. Gotta pull some of this stuff out. This comes off the tab, just lifts off. It's got a rubber cushion and a bracket around it. That's what it looks like in here. I don't remember if you have to undo this. I think it's clipped on to something. That might make it so you have to take it out. I don't remember. I think when I get these hoses out of the way, I think there's some 10s. That's what it is. Yeah, there's a 10s under there. I'm already starting to get a little bit of backache. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I wish I could open the hood more. I could pop these off and use a big hood prop or something, but we'll see. What else we got? Injector connectors. This goes on the back of the valve cover back here, something on a tube, so I can turn it. There's 2 10s back here. Hope you can see them there. And there's 2 10s over here. That's what we're going to work on next. Braces, basically. And then I think we'll be able to get the intake 8mm out of there and lift this thing out. One way in the back for fun. Matter of fact, there might even be another one. I don't think so. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These short ones, I'll pull them up and get the threads caught in the plastic so they're not catching on stuff on the way out. Some of these, there's not much you can do about it because they hit. Sound insulator. You guys might know, I always like to put that on top of the intake somewhere. You know, sometimes you get in a rush and put the intake on without it. You got to disconnect some more injectors. I got these injectors out. I got another bungee cord to hold this out of my way. Bungee cord's super handy for this kind of thing. The more stuff is out of your way, the less hassle it is working in this area. So let me get these injector connectors. So right here, 3 of those on each side, 6-cylinder. Uh-oh. I think there's one back here too. Yeah, there it is. Can't really see it. So I'll drop the socket on it. I'll be able to see that. Gaskets are stuck down there. There's some push pins holding harnesses on the back of that too. Alright, you. Come with me.
I think that's the one I saw.
Listen, man. I know this comes off. I just have to get the little white clip to release. It's going to spritz gas a little bit. That's why I'm trying to get it off at my own preferred speed. Let me get a pick in there and pop this out a little bit the other way. Got my 2 electrical connectors off. You guys know that hose is a little bit of a bear. I might be able to get to it with my little hose clamp tool. I gotta get some paper towels in those intake ports. I don't really like it. I don't like it one bit being open like that. I left the bottom intake manifold open because I knew it was taking it off, but when I get to this point I don't like to risk dropping anything in there. So even though I gotta climb out to get them, I'm still gonna. And then it's like 5 torque sockets, I believe, maybe 6. I think it's 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's 5. There's 3 in the front, 2 in the back, and that'll come out. Just got to get that heater hose off the back. All right, I've got my adapter to go to my 3/8 socket on my quarter drive. I got 6 paper towels. I think I'm going to build the new oil filter housing assembly before I climb in there, and I'll bring it in there with me. For those who haven't seen these, they take a slightly different filter. There's a note on there saying use the filter from the newer generation. Comes with all the hardware, all the gaskets. You actually bolt the cooler on, assemble it yourself. This plug is if you don't have one of the sensors in the back, you have to swap them over. But I haven't come across one that uses it yet. All the other plugs are in place. Like I put a catalytic converter in a car not too long ago, if you guys saw that video. It had one of these plugs missing. Luckily we found one. I was able to get it in without having to take it back out, but I usually take the time to look it over and make sure no other openings exist. You also have to put the O-ring on that tube. So that's in that bag of O-rings. Let's get this thing put together. Now we're going to begin assembling all this stuff. Comes with the plenum gaskets and everything, so you don't need to order anything if you're doing one of these. It comes with everything. Doesn't come with injector O-rings. If you disturb those, you have to replace them. There are 2 different O-rings. You might notice that the blue one is slightly larger. Very close though. This goes on 22 and newer. This goes on everything else. Since this is a 2018 or 19, I know it's not a 22 or newer. There's right there. Why Chrysler would decide to have a 0.7 millimeter difference in 2 O-rings. Maybe they changed this so it leaks less, but where these leak is normally cracks from being over tightened. Plus it's just a poor design in general, in my expert engineering opinion. That also contributes to it leaking. Put these O-rings in here, don't forget those. All the same size, except for the one in the back. That one is quite a bit larger, noticeably bigger. You can put these in first because this keeps it off the ground when you're working on it. Now there's 2 sets of O-rings assemblies for this. Basically cooler in and cooler out. There's a pin here, lines up on the housing. Comes with new bolts.
I gotta look up the torque spec.
While we're at it, the O-ring's not on the filter housing, might as well do that. I used to try to put oil in these before I put the filter in, but it's just a pass-through without the filter in there. It just drains into the crankcase, so you end up with no oil in there anyway. Just like when you do an oil change, the oil all dumps out. Doesn't hurt anything. I wish I could fill it, I would, but I can't. I'm going to put a little clean engine oil on the O-rings. or some mineral oil that's made for power steering will work. That's what's convenient. That's what I'll use. Make sure it's not in the thread, it's in this slot. Who knows? Go ahead and change these gaskets out. They're really not in bad shape, but you got gaskets, they're in bad enough shape, I'm going to change them. I've gotten to where OEM stuff is better, even though this has a leaking oil filter housing, so maybe that's not really the case, but at least it feels that way to me. So just replacing stuff for the hell of it with something that you got in a kit from the aftermarket, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing or not. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. You automatically replace everything where you got certain things apart, and you like installing aftermarket stuff in place of the OEM even if there's nothing wrong with it because you're in there. I used to always do that. Not so quick to do that anymore. A couple of these guys to go. I gotta bring tools to swap the sensors over too if I don't want to get back out again. I don't remember what size they are, I think. And that one was really tight last time I did one of these. I had to put it in a vise to get it out. I think what I'll do on this one is see if I can break these loose before I unbolt it. How about that? That's using your noggin, Jimmy. 19 millimeter. How tight that is. Ugh. Well, I'm gonna have to get a socket. That's amazing that it would be so tight. I don't think the open end will do it. It's only a gear wrench, not a snap-on. Nope. Wow. Alright, was not expecting that. I mean, they're really tight. They can't make a housing not to leak, but they're really concerned about that temp sensor. Alright, I got a Sunix 19, my gear wrench 120. We'll see if that'll do it. My gracious goodness. Glad Snap-on started coming in again. You guys saw yesterday's video, Snap-on came by. Ugh. I don't think I'll be able to get to the sender with it in. Maybe. Yeah, there's like wiring harnesses and stuff here. I don't want to damage any of that. We'll wait on that. I brought an oil sender socket. Hose clamp. Can I get it? With the temperature sender out of the way, that might help. I normally do it after lifting it up. You saw the last time I did one of these, but sometimes you'll try different things just to see if it'll work. Save time. It doesn't want to clear. Something down there. Oh, nice. Did not think that would work. But it did. That's how you know you're having a good day. You try something thinking it won't do it, and it does it. I'm going to tuck this out of the way a little more. Alright, now I can set up my Torx socket. I'm not sure what one it is. Probably, I think that's an 8 or so. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be the next one up. I think it's an 8. Before I even try it on there. The appropriate extensions and adapters, and yeah, it's 8. I am going to loosen this cap before I take the last bolt out, so the oil will drain out of the housing into the crankcase. And the last thing in this job will be an oil change. All we gotta do is lift it up. Give it a minute to drain. And one more bolt and this thing's out. Alright, it's been a minute or two, so looks like the cavity's pretty empty. Something else to keep in mind is that little tube I put the O-ring on, the aluminum one, there's a tube going down in the block, so it doesn't just slide off or anything. It has to come straight up. With a little bit of love, caressing, persuasion, maybe a nice dinner, everybody wins.
Just be patient.
Boom. We got a little bit of a mess to clean. You got the evacuator set up. We're gonna get some of that mess out of there. And there is quite a mess. I used to use napkins and everything, but it takes forever. Towels or whatever. This is better. Because you definitely don't want fluid running down the back of the motor after you're done. Then it looks like you were wrong. It's going down very slowly, but we're going to get it all out of there. Alright, I've got it cleaned up pretty good where it's not going to spill out the back. I got to wipe down my gasket surfaces. I got a little engine oil on here already. And just ready to put this thing back together. Got my oil pressure sender in. I didn't put my coolant temp sensor in like I normally do because I think it made it quite a bit easier to get that heater hose out of the way. So let's go ahead and drop this thing in. I got it cleaned up. Should be good to go. All my O-rings are in place. Nice and straight so you can get this. There you go. Might as well connect this while I'm thinking about it. I got 5 new bolts because the bolts are different, and I'm not sure you can even get them out of the other housing. Oh, I forgot to put some gloves on. I think I'm going to do that. It's a little chilly out today anyway. It did get at least in the high 50s, but it's still a little chilly. Where'd it go? There it is. You probably see it better than I do. Some of these you cannot get your fingers down there, so you got to use your setup. Alright, I got the Tecton torque wrench out. Not working too good. You guys, did I tell you guys too that they saw my post and the video and they said they're going to send me another torque wrench? I didn't get it yet, but they said one is on the way. That's pretty cool. I already like their tools, and the reason I didn't, someone was saying it's probably under warranty and they give great service. I just assumed a torque wrench had a 1-year warranty. So that's really cool. Once I get it, I'll show you guys. I torqued this on the workbench, but I want to torque it while it's held down better. Now, heater, hose, and clamp tool. That's going to be fun. Came right off, so it shouldn't be a big deal, I guess. You want a light? Okay. I went on there way better. I like that. I'm going to do it that way from now on. A little bit of thread sealer, liquid thread sealer on the coolant temp sender. Twist to your heart's content. Then grab yourself a 19mm socket and a ratchet. Now it was pretty tight before. I'm going to make her pretty tight again. A little bit to where it felt like it was starting to get silly, and then I stopped. Electrical plug only goes on one way. Do that. Safety latch. Most of the dirty area is outside the gasket area. Push those in after I get this down and torqued. A couple of push pins in here, make them happy. You'd think these would land where they go, but I've got these bungees holding it, so maybe we'll release the bungees. Release the bungees! That ought to help. Oh yeah. Look at that thing. They're practically jumping there on their own. Let's do this. Let's make sure these are all good. I got it all torqued. Now we got 4 studs that have to go in here. So you got to kind of put the intake in like that, drop it down. That's the noise it makes too. I'm trying to do it by braille too because I can't see over there without flexing the old back a bit. Now these just are wood screws, not gonna hurt anything, although if you over tighten them, they will strip. I just get them snug, switch over to the torque wrench. And I always do the brace bolts and stuff last. Well, in this case, nuts. The only exception being if it does have a bolt, then I'll get the bolts all started to make it easier to get the bolt in the brace, like that Nissan I did the other day. Easy peasy. 8. Might have looked like it went tight, but I let the ratchet go if you saw that. Work if you're too professional, I'm told. If I did it wrong, your eyes deceived you. That's what I'm saying. Let's get a torque wrench. Ooh, thank goodness. Landed on my ramp. I'm gonna get my nuts on over here. private. And then that braces will be done. Now I'm just putting on a couple of hoses. Got my bracket on. There's 2 nuts there and 2 back there. We'll lift it up, drop the oil real quick. You'd think my biggest fan would be a member of the channel. Nope. This just drops down in a couple slots on the bottom. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Happen to have 2 bolts right here. Let's try it one more time. Minus the bragging. Let's see how it goes. Alright, now. See, I didn't brag, and now it went in. That's okay. I'm still learning. Careful now. Alright, now this is the fun part. Thanks to the Dodge Motor Company, you get these 2 plastic thingamajigs. You get this on here, and they all kind of go on at the same time. Sometimes there's cursing and screaming and special editing involved, but it happens eventually. Well, I need to get my little stand out of there. I put the big one away and the little one still kind of trapped down there. I need it right now. Let's try. I thought I remembered back first and then front, but it's not working. So. Oh, Chrysler. There's one. There's the other. All right. There you go. Told you it was easy. You just push a little harder. One of my biggest problems, I always try to play nice and get along. And then when it doesn't do what I want, then I get mean and it goes right on. 8mm 2 clamps. No, 5W30, I lied. Dinosaur blood, not from dinosaurs. So I'm told. I don't know where it comes from, but dinosaur blood's still funny. Some people don't have a sense of humor. Let's see here. Oh, I told you it'd be fine. What are you worried about? I'll put an oil change sticker in there. Get this PL auto out of there. Beat it. 128.3. I'm going to set a 5,000 mile, 365 day interval. They're not going to go 365 days without hitting 5,000 miles. But you guys ever seen engine oil go bad before a year old? We have some oil in the storage area in our inventory that's probably that old. The uncommon weights and stuff. I hope it doesn't go bad sitting a year. The oil guy, what is it? His channel's called The Oil Geek. He did some cool tests. He had oil that was 20 years old, was still okay. And some of the oil he had was 5 or 6 years old, it was separated. So it depends on what oil it is, I guess. All I got to do now is try to get all the air purged out of this thing. The guy's actually out waiting in the parking lot. He came back. Is it done yet? So I cleaned it all off. Everything's good to go as far as that goes. Just a matter of getting the hot air off the fan. If you've been around a while, you know. I gotta let this fan run, get hot air off of it. I know I have no air pocket. I'll put the heat on, make sure we got hot air coming out of the dash. Then my preference is to let it cool a little while, It'll always take a little splash of coolant. Sometimes it'll pull it out of the bottle if you let it cool long enough, and then you top the bottle up, but I prefer to check them both if I can. I may not have time to do it because they're pretty anxious to get it. He said he ran out of stuff to do. He wants his truck, so I'm going to try to accommodate him. Alright, got a little air pocket issue. The bleeder on these is under the throttle body, so I could either take the throttle body back off or try redneck bleeding methods, and that's what we're doing. See if this will work first. Got the hose back off the radiator. I'm going to fill it from the hose, and it should push through the motor and then come out the filler neck, if my calculations are correct. I'm going to keep doing that. It goes down very slowly, and I got it higher than the radiator outlet, so eventually I should start to get coolant out of here, then my air should be out. I didn't realize when I was putting it all together that that bleeder stuck under the throttle body. I forgot. That's one of the cool things Chrysler does for us, other than making us pay for subscriptions to work on their junk. I mean, their vehicles. I apologize. I know I got Chrysler fans I shouldn't kid around, but I just think it's funny because it seems a little silly the way they do things. I'm just thinking they need a hug. They seem angry. There it goes, coming out of the radiator. We should be in business. I see warmth off the radiator, warmth in the hose. Finally, it let out a big glug. It was got up to 228, 230, 231, and then glug. Now I'm getting warm air. Whew. I was wondering if I was going to get this done today. I knew you could do it, little Ram. It actually got, now it's going to cook off. I rinsed everything down with water. So since the radiator's warm, it's going to steam a little bit. But better than leaving little drips of antifreeze for a day. This thing's done. Whew. So they're staring at me down there from that F-150. We're going to take it for a quick drive. I already know it doesn't have an air pocket. I got heat inside and I got heat out here. All done. All right, guys. Broke 40 hours this week because I got that Dodge Ram done. That helped. Been an odd couple of weeks this year. Seems a little slower than I remember, but we'll see if we can pick it up. We're gonna do our best to make it work. That's what we do. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Basically, Dodge Ram or any Dodge 3.6 oil filter cooler housing. So that'll be a standalone video pretty much. I hope you found it interesting. Maybe you'll torque the like button before you head out. Subscribe if you're new. But more than anything, I hope I see you in the next one, because you're awesome.